And to our top story tonight, a huge decision by the United States Supreme Court in the last few hours that has already inflamed America afresh. The US's top court struck down the constitutional right to abortion, meaning millions of women there will now lose that right, and many with immediate effect. The ruling overturns almost 50 years of law established by the landmark case of Roe versus Wade. The court's ruling drew furious condemnation, led by President Biden.
It's a sad day for the court and for the country. 50 years ago, Roe v. Wade was decided and has been the law of the land since then. This landmark case protected a woman's right to choose, her right to make intensely personal decisions with her doctor, free from the interference of politics.
Well, 13 states have so-called trigger laws set to take effect after the ruling, and that means abortion became illegal in states like Louisiana and Kentucky the very second that ruling was announced this afternoon around 4 o'clock. And it doesn't stop there. In the ruling, the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas also says the law allowing contraception, same-sex relationships and same-sex marriage should now be looked at again, and all therefore may now face a ban too. Well, let's get more on that landmark ruling with our correspondent Eamon Atkinson, who is live in Washington, D.C. for us tonight. Eamon, good evening. An astounding ruling that really has caused shockwaves around the world, not just America. What happens now?
Yes. Well, what happens now, as you said, there are trigger laws in place in 13 US states. That means it is now officially illegal to get an abortion for women living in those states. And there are only very rare exceptions in a lot of those states, like if the woman's life is in danger. Some don't even allow for abortion in cases of rape or incest. So this has caused shockwaves across America. Here in DC, there is a big protest outside the Supreme Court. DC is quite liberal, though, so a lot of these people are against the decision. There are people in churches and pregnancy centres across the country that will be supporting this, and I spoke to a few of the people here just a short time ago.
Pretty horrified to be living in a country where people don't have access to abortions in a safe way.
I've always been pro-life. I support life because I support human rights, and women's rights are human rights.
I think there is no way that you can tell a woman that she is or is not going to have a baby, and I think it's definitely going to hurt women of color and women that are poor.
America is going backwards, and it's devastating and it's disappointing.
So there has been a lot of reaction across the country. A short time ago, President Joe Biden said the health of American women is now at risk, and this is the realisation of extreme ideology.
Eamon, thank you. Obviously down to individual states to make that decision now. Some have already made them. But let's talk about the other part of the ruling that's also causing some interest and some concern tonight. That suggestion, therefore, that other fundamental rights, contraception, same-sex marriage, all established under the US Constitution or in previous interpretations, all of those possibly also at threat too. What happens there?
Well, absolutely, and this isn't just speculation. This is spelled out by one of the justices in his majority judgment. So Justice Thomas has said that the Supreme Court should now look at other instances where states could regulate individual rights. He specifically mentioned cases that have to do with contraception, gay sex, so gay sodomy, he specifically mentions, and gay marriage. So a lot of people have been saying if it starts with overturning Roe v. Wade, it won't just start there, it will continue. And this is the consequence we're seeing of America's highest court turning conservative. Under the former President Donald Trump, he appointed 3 conservative justices, which flipped the court's ideology. People are now wondering where it's going to go from there. Even UK's Conservative Prime Minister Boris Johnson, a short time ago speaking in Rwanda, said this was a big step backwards. Tom?
Eamon, thank you very much. Eamon Atkinson in Washington, D.C. for us tonight. Well, at least 25 states are expected to restrict abortion following this afternoon's ruling. This map shows the distribution of restrictions across the US. While some are set for absolute bans, at least 4 will stop a little short of that, banning the procedure after more than 6 weeks of pregnancy. Well, Oklahoma is one of those states that already has some very tight restrictions on abortion, and today's ruling cements them in law, criminalising performing the procedure altogether. I'm joined now by Andrea Gallegos, who works in the Tulsa Women's Clinic. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us tonight. What does this mean for women where you are right now?
Well, women in Oklahoma have been living in a post-Roe world since mid-May, when the governor signed a total ban into effect at that time. So, you know, we have been there in Oklahoma. Women have been forced to flee their home state to seek access to abortion care. They have been forced to become medical refugees, which is what we're asking our citizens to do. And Roe, overturning Roe just furthers that for women across the country. It's absolutely devastating, and it's going to make a significant impact on women's health.
We've obviously seen violence outside abortion clinics in Oklahoma. This is something that you have been fighting with others for a very long time. If a woman in Oklahoma wants abortion now, how far will she be able to travel, and will she be able to get one in another state?
Sure. So Kansas is a state that, as of right now, will be able to continue to provide abortions. Further than that, New Mexico, Colorado, these are the states that women are likely to travel to from Oklahoma. We know that right now these clinics in those states are completely overwhelmed with appointments. Due to the laws that have already been in effect since September of 2021 in Texas. Texas women have been fleeing Texas for months, almost a year, and Oklahomans have been doing that since last month. And we will see women do whatever it takes and travel and access care. These laws do not make abortion need go away. They do not stop abortions. They just add to the already tons of burden that exists and hurdles that exist that women will be expected to overcome to access health care.
Andrea, thank you so much for joining us tonight.